Western media also plays a large part in the misrepresentation and underrepresentation of people of color in developing nations. Lead roles are still mostly played by white actors, and stereotypes are still utilized and prevalent. Adichie says, "This is how to create a single story. Show people as one thing, as only one thing, over and over again, and that is what they become." From a Western perspective, we only see developing nations for their faults. Many films use simplistic, violent, and poor depictions of developing countries. These portrayals, coupled with the information we receive in the news, leads to the single story of these places as dangerous, impoverished, and in need of saving. Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart, while portraying some negative and violent aspects of Nigerian the Igbo culture, exposes readers to some of the beautiful parts of it as well. It shows their communal lifestyle, the importance and emphasis on family, and creates an atmospheric depiction of Africa as a whole. The novel was the very first depiction of Africa many of us have ever experienced that did not solely focus on the impoverished, war-torn climate of the continent. When Adichie talks about stories, she mentions how stories can be used to break the dignity of people, but they can also be used to empower others. And I believe that one could relate this to the female struggle within the media. Throughout the entirety of high school English, we have not read a single novel written by a female author. Things Fall Apart, despite being a powerful novel connecting us to African literature and culture, was an uncomfortable read for many female students because of the persistent and explicit female violence. We briefly mention the feminist theory, and we discuss elements of tragedy in literature, but we never touch on women's roles. We do not talk about the role of women in Shakespeare's plays, and we never unpack the feminist elements within Hamlet, such as the impact of Ophelia's offstage death, Gertrude's impact on the plot, or the idea of either of them existing outside of the male plot points. Overall, Adichie's TED Talk is a moving and entertaining commentary on stereotypes and the single stories in Western media, and I believe that through a critique on the school system, a look into Western films, and the comparative representation of women, her thesis is incredibly valid. When we focus on a single story, not only do we lose valuable perspectives and the opportunity to have different stories, but we push away and isolate those who are not represented. We create false depictions of anyone who is considered other, and consequently feed into negative portrayals and representations.